Greetings, new employee. It seems like you couldn't keep away for long. Intrigued by my mysterious nature, what knowledge do you seek? The meaning of life? Or do you want to hear me quack about Jojo's bizarre adventure? Hello, I am. D0-RK. But you can call me Dork with Wings because, well, I'm a bird, mostly. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a very niche anime, okay, based off a very niche manga of the same name created in 1989. It was written and illustrated by Hirohiko Araki, who is a niche artist and cross-dresser. No, that is not a joke. He actually did that. And was definitely not featured in the Louvre because that's how underrated he is. The plot is a bit difficult to explain because the story consists of different parts, like Victorian vampire story to an adventure type to a slice of life murder mystery to Italian mafias to the end of the world to cowboys. And yeah, he also invented yanderes. That's right. Your fave is responsible for Yandere Simulator. But the main plot that is sprinkled through each part is that a hot bisexual vampire named Dio taunts the entire Joestar line because pettiness. Honestly, what a diva slay. The inclusion of the different genres is what appeals the fans. Each part caters to a specific audience, and they have their own subsections of fan bases. I myself am included in that. So, in honor of Brokeback Mountain 2 being announced, I wanted to challenge myself to redesign some of the characters of my favorite part, Stardust Crusaders. Why not start at Phantom Blood or Battle Tendency? Because they don't have the most perfect and best character of all time. Muhammad Abdul. Okay, moving on. Let's take this somewhere else. I can't let the scientists overhear this definitely crucial information. See, I astral projected this in your mind. Ain't that pretty neat? Stardust Crusaders, also known as the third part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, is about the grandson of the previous protagonist trying to save his mother from a curse that connects all the Joestars and Dio together because he stole their great-grandfather's body. If I'm not making any sense, that's good. It means you can still get away before the series has you in a chokehold. It features many wacky characters. Jotaro Kujo, Joseph Joestar, Noriaki Kakyoin, Jean-Pierre Polnareff, Muhammad Havdal. Sorry, that wasn't me. That was Iggy. Yeah, that was the dog. Jotaro is a character that really isn't that complicated to understand. He's supposed to be this bad, tough guy, which is actually a front for his more caring nature and possible daddy issues, based off the Gakuran in the 80s, and by extension, the street fashion movement that came with it. And that is reflected well in Jotaro's base design. He has the uniform, he skips the school, he fights the teachers, and is definitely a delinquent. However, if you asked several JoJo fans about Jotaro, they are sure to tell you that they prefer him much more in the other parts of the series than the one where he is the main character. Why is that? To answer that, we need to regard JoJo in a more critical lens, which I think is important when analyzing a favorite piece of media. I mean, Miraculous sure does. Nobody hates the show more than its fans. The majority of the problems with the writing of the series isn't actually directly Araki's fault, as it was published by Shonen Jump. And it is very strict when it comes to creative freedom to appeal to its frankly narrow demographic. There are many horror stories and mangaka struggles, so Araki isn't a unique case. However, that doesn't mean all criticism is exempt. I still think it's important to talk about the writing and how it could be improved if he was given freedom. My main gripes with Stardust Crusaders is that the characters remain static throughout the series. Even the ones that take up most of the screen time, looking at you, Polnareff, don't actually change in a meaningful way. Jotaro doesn't actually have a character arc in part 3, at least not to the extent as the other part, and that makes him come across as more flat. The way he approaches things is the same. He doesn't really learn anything by the end. This is in part because of the way Stardust Crusaders is structured. Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk about filler. By definition, filler is a way that writers pad out season time with episodes that don't add anything to the plot nor characters. No, having an episode where characters are interacting isn't filler because it still adds something. While not all of the episodes in Stardust Crusaders are filler, a good chunk of them are. Because there are fights happening back to back, they aren't allowed to sit and breathe or talk or question things or self-reflect on their experiences. Sure, Jotaro isn't a rock, but there aren't a lot of moments where he expresses his vulnerability, whether in front of the Crusaders or by himself. In fact, I don't think there's a scene where he's left alone for a long period of time. Hell, Polnareff gets several, and he's not the main character. I'll come back to Polnareff real soon. The point I'm trying to make is, unfortunately, Jotaro is a victim of those writing choices. And if I want to approach redesigning him, I need to start with rewriting him. Jotaro, at least upon rewatching, has a strong sense of justice, but it comes to a point where it seems it's more black and white, when in reality nothing is ever that way. He doesn't like when people use others for personal gain, but doesn't make an effort to reach out to the other possible victims of Dio's manipulation. Yes, the argument can be made that most of them are doing this for selfish reasons, but some of them are not. Even if people wanted money, isn't that still Dio manipulating them in some way to do his bidding? His views aren't questioned that often, Kakyoin and Indul being the most notable people that come to mind. So I would like for him to doubt himself more and explore that as a major flaw of his that could hinder some of his fights. That'd be an interesting dynamic, I think. Also wanted to incorporate more of his tarot card symbolism in his character, which is the star. If you're into that tarot and stuff, it symbolizes inspiration and renewed hope. I think he embodies that pretty well in the series. When his friends are knocked down, he's the only one to prevail and push back and win. But sometimes the way it happens is kind of ridiculous, like in the Jotaro versus Dio fight where he goes, so it's the same stand as Star Platinum. I wish that his time-stopping powers were foreshadowed beforehand. And if they were, which I don't think they were, they should have been foreshadowed better. For his character design, I wanted to add more star motifs on him, and I changed the accents from gold to a more platinum color. There really isn't much that I want to change about him because his design is really well thought of. It's perfect, I would say. Though the green shirt that he sports in the anime, that is so not his color, and it washes him out. On the teaser of Stardust Crusaders, he does have a sort of magenta color to him, which I like way more. I have no idea why they changed it, so we are putting that back and connecting it with Star Platinum. Speaking of Star Platinum, oh boy, where to start? I don't understand the Mayan inspired design, the loincloth. And those boots, they're so garish and heavy, and it makes him feel small more than intimidating. And it just clashes with the overall aesthetic. So I opted to get rid of those for a more flowy yet powerful style. I like the OVA's version of Star Platinum a bit more, particularly the hair, as it makes it look like a nice fun galaxy, which, yes, more space aesthetics, please. My main inspiration for my redesign was The Little Prince, which is a French children's novel. I'm sure you've heard of it. If you're wondering why that is because of a spin-off novel of Stardust Crusaders, which is the genesis of the universe. And in that novel, Jotaro does mention it a couple times. Also calls Polnareff love. And I think that's really cute, so I decided to add that. Star Platinum does have a scarf, but I wanted to make it look longer like the Prince character, and I added a little star to make it look like a shooting star. The magenta is so you know that he's Jotaro's stand 100%. And I really like the purples of original Star Platinum and OVA Platinum, so I kept those in his design as well. Full version on my Twitter and Tumblr. The links are in the description. Yeah, the scientists let me use social media. What are they gonna do? Stop me? I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I loved making it. I hope to post more of these characters very soon, so like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you wish to see more or what you would have done. Your curiosity can't keep you away, employee, until we meet again.